Last but not least, let's give a warm welcome to Hadia Kamran with her speech, The Clarity Conspiracy.
Hi everyone. First of all, there's a million things going in my head, and not one of them is about the talk that I'm going to do right now. I'm thinking about how I should have not worn heels today because they are killing me right now, and about how thankful I am for all of you for listening so carefully and patiently, and don't worry, I am the last speaker. So, have you all been to IKEA? Everyone knows IKEA? Yes. Once, me and my family, we were going to IKEA, right? So, we went through, we liked a piece of furniture, we got it home by ourselves, but during the transportation process, we lost the instructions. So we tried to build it, but that made me realize, isn't life like a giant IKEA furniture kit? You've got all of the pieces around you, but none of the instructions. So you try to put it together all by yourself, only to realize you've been using the wrong screw the entire time. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, because that's been me with life. For the longest time, I thought I needed to figure out everything on my own. Like there was some secret manual to success, happiness, and clarity hidden out there. And all I needed to do was crack the code. Spoiler alert, no manual ever showed up. But that didn't stop me from thinking that I'd find clarity in the middle of the chaos if I just focused hard enough. So there I was, deep in my self-reflective moments, aka staring out the window and pretending to be deep. I thought if I could just be quiet enough, I'd hear some magical voice telling me what to do with my life. Instead, all I heard was the sound of my phone blowing up with notifications. No grand vision, no epiphany. Just my phone telling me it needed to charge ASAP. At that point, I realized clarity doesn't magically appear when you're sitting alone like a monk, away from the noise. I mean, I'd love to be the type of person who can mediate their way into figuring everything out, but nope. Clarity, for me, wasn't about isolation. It was about connection. Let me tell you about 2020, when I moved to different corners of the world. Literally, I moved all the way from Australia. I had everything figured out, my friends, my career, everything. But I felt like I was starting from scratch when I moved here. No friends, new school, everything new. So that made me realize that clarity doesn't come just like that. One day, my cousin, she messaged me during my existential crisis. Now, it wasn't anything deep. It wasn't a motivational quote or deep insights. It was a cat video. Cliche, I know. But somehow, that silly little video was the spark I needed. I laughed. And in that moment, I realized clarity started creeping in through connection. So, here's the conspiracy. We've all been made to believe that clarity is something we achieve solo, like a superhero on a quest for inner peace. But I'm here to tell you today that clarity isn't some hidden thing. It's all around you, in the connections you build, in the relationships you have, and in the moments of shared awkwardness and laughter. I even saw this after my bird passed away 2 weeks ago. It hit me harder than I expected. He was such a small part of my life, but his presence made my days brighter. There's something about the constant companionship of a pet that hits you when they're not there. The dependence on you, how they're just there in your everyday routine, that really hits you when they're gone. But in talking to my friends and family, I found comfort in the small ways we helped remember him. There's a great quote by Helen Keller: "Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much." And while she probably wasn't talking about cat videos, I found that connecting with others, whether it's a deep conversation or just a shared joke, holds more meaningfulness than any amount of solo pondering. But let's talk about connections for a second, because they're not always these magical, life-changing moments. Sometimes they're just flat out awkward. Like when you try to crack a joke in the middle of the group, and instead of laughing, everyone just stares back at you. You know the ones. And when you accidentally text the wrong person. One time, I sent my teacher a funny video of failing exams, which was supposed to be sent to my best friend. Let's just say that conversation was not pleasant at all, but we've bonded now over my fantastic and amazing study habits. So, clarity isn't some hidden, unattainable thing. It's right there in our everyday life. And often, it's these imperfect relationships with people that you have which bring out the best in yourself. I've learned so much about myself while opening up to others. And not just the polished Instagram filtered version of me, the messy, confused, meme-sending version of me too. So, ultimately, I'd like to end this by saying that clarity is stepping into the unknown. And connections is daring to be present with the people around you and willing to take risks. So whatever you take from this talk today, let it be this: go out there with whatever you have, with whoever you are, and watch how the smallest steps create the biggest changes. And if all else fails, there's always a cat video on the internet to make you realize that life, with all its confusion, is still pretty amazing. And if you crack the code and figure it all out, please send it to me. My email is luckyhadi@gmail.com. And I'm really serious, I could use it. Thank you so much.